Federal funding for domestic and sexual abuse victim services taking a big hit this year, dropping by more than 70%.
Here in Wisconsin, that leaves advocacy organizations scrambling to fill that funding gap. Braden Ross joins us with how they hope to do that. Braden?
Yeah, Wisconsin ranks number 7 in the nation for domestic violence homicides per capita. Between 2021 and 2022, we saw a 20% increase in domestic violence killings. Now a drop in funding could leave those trying to escape that fate with nowhere else to turn.
Closing domestic violence shelters specifically will mean more victims and their children are going to be dying at the hands of their abusers.
It's a question those who work with domestic violence survivors grew tired of hearing a long time ago.
Why don't they leave? Well, because it's not that easy.
Baraboo nonprofit Hope House serves families from 5 different counties, providing services to make that transition even just a little bit easier. Their current shelter space can only hold 10 families at a time. Executive Director Lacey Pustina says those rooms are almost always full, a problem Dane County victim advocacy organization DAYS can relate to.
If a shelter closes in one part of the state, shelters like DAYS that remain open, we're going to see more and more victims who are desperately fleeing potentially homicidal situations coming to our organizations for support, and at times where we already have huge wait lists.
And it's not just immediate emergency shelter these organizations provide. They also give legal help, educate, and advocate.
We know statistically that for domestic violence victims, less than a quarter of them ever call law enforcement. So it's really community-based programs like DAYS and our sister organizations around the state who are really providing that service.
This year, Wisconsin's federal funding from the Victims of Crime Act will see a nearly 70% drop. That's money many organizations across the state rely on to stay open.
Where are we supposed to cut when there's not enough funding for what we're doing right now currently?
Now they're hoping the state legislature can help close that funding gap.
We have a record surplus here in the state of Wisconsin, and I think that the powers that be in the legislature have an awesome opportunity right now to really step up.
Now, Senate Bill 877 would increase state funding for victim services by $25 million over 2 years. It's getting a hearing at the Capitol on Thursday.